Truth alone can lead man to perfection, and this perfection he has to earn by giving his own life to truth. Boethius was told by this radiant vision that she had been with him since the beginning. The moment he dedicated his life to truth, she was with him, and she would be with him until the end of the days, and be with all others under the same conditions, because no one walks through life entirely alone, and those that give themselves to unselfish service to others will walk consistently with the radiant presence beside them, something that is going to guard them and protect them because they have deserved it. Because they have earned the peace of inner life, they will have it regardless of what happens in the outer world. Truth is alive and walks with those that serve it. Truth is a being, a power, a quality. Truth is the most dynamic way that leads to reality. What is truth to us? How do we understand truth? We understand that by little efforts to grow, we try to be a little better today than we were yesterday, and we continue to grow a little every day. But the first step we take towards reality brings us this contact that walks with us the rest of the way. The first sincere, dedicated effort to live the life of truth brings truth to you, and truth walks with you to the end of your days. This was the idea of Pythagoras and Plato. It was the result of the individual earning dedication by his own dedication.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.
When we do a definite good thing, when we serve those in need, when we improve the nature of our own contemplations, we make an important connection in life, and once this connection is made, it cannot die. Once we become aware, once we have given birth out of our own souls to the soul of truth, that soul will live on. Once we have made a sincere effort to try, we have taken the first step to eternity. We have taken the first step and move in the direction of everlasting peace. Buddha brings us to the same point. He says that the journey to truth begins with a single step. The single step in the Greek system was the first absolutely unselfish, dedicated effort to serve. The one moment in life when we strip ourselves, when we are bigger than ourselves and place a common good above our personal advantage. As long as we are selfish, truth remains alone from us and weeps. The moment we are selfish in our thinking, our actions, in our codes of life, we cut ourselves off from the eternal love which is saved for us in the wonders and mysteries of mystic life. It is a step from the selfish to the unselfish, from the dark into the light, and once an individual makes this dedication, he is pressed gradually forward, one step at a time, to the fullness he seeks, to possesses in the fullness of his own maturity. Therefore, this is all part of the idea of the love of truth, the love of the way it really is, the way we can really see if we could climb out of the slough of our own despond. If we could rise out of the ignorance with which we have locked ourselves, we could begin to see over the edge to things beyond. When we do that, we will grow a little. As we grow a little, the problems will become less. Everything that tries is rewarded for trying. Why and how? No one tries, nothing tries, unless it has a vision of something better. It may not know how to attain something better, but if it is willing to try, it means it grasps the possibility of improvement. The moment the individual understands this moment of realization, that improvement becomes possible. They begin to grow. Now, if in the first time he has this realization, he looks around and says to himself, "Yes, I think I will be a little bit better than I was," and I will correct some of my faults. So he goes out the next day and has a little bit of trouble with something and gets a little irritated. Then a little later, something else comes along, and he gets a little more irritated, and gradually this one moment of enlightenment fades away, and he's back again to all of his problems and all of his miseries. This may happen many times. There are false starts, well intended but not supported by sufficient energy to survive and amount to anything. But ultimately, the effort to grow will produce a false start. In a moment like this, we come across another entity, another wonderful being that we have intimate contact with, and that most people do not understand, recognize, or serve adequately. This other wonderful being is our own body. We have a body which we rule as Lord and Master. It could be that this body becomes a slave if it is not given proper attention, if it is misused, or if it is victimized, or is allowed to suffer merely to the gratification of the mind that dwells within it. Truth will never permit the misuse of energy. Therefore, this body, which is our house for the time, has laws and rules that must be kept. As we look around us today, we realize that as a school, our daily life is not much of a success. We do not have a discipline to take care of us through these years of growth, by which we must finally reach our own adult physical years. So nature depends upon this problem and gives us a certain ultimatum to face with. Nature gives us the rules, and when we do not keep the rules, nature gives us the example of the broken rule. One of the most beautiful and wonderful displays we have today is this great tapestry of broken rules. Everyone is worried about these broken rules because they are a danger to us, but we have not worried enough yet to correct it. We are still trying to play hooky in the school of life. Some of us are still convinced that we are just here to have fun, collect wealth, influence, and fame. As long as we do that, the great genius of truth will not be with us. When any ambition is false, it is not sanctified and is not fulfilled by the laws of life. Whenever we have an ambition that is contrary to good, that ambition will ultimately destroy itself. Whenever we forget our relationship with other living things, when we forget about the brotherhood of life, we forget about the parenthood of life, we begin to sound out our own troubles. This has been very clearly indicated today. When we know that the rules of life we have broken have put us exactly where we are now, the question still remains. Why does it do this, and how? Why is it that when we support the wrong thing, we get into trouble? That is because there is a rule that tells us what the right thing is, and that rule is immutable. If honesty is a universal law, decreed in the infinite pattern of things, no individual human dishonesty can survive. Survival does not mean the individual personally will perish, but it means the goal or attitude will have to change. There is no possible way in which evil can achieve rulership over this world. The battle for the struggle for this control grows much more violent every day. The greater the ambitions of the individual, the more terrible his mistakes will be. The more desperate he tries to escape the consequences of his own conduct, the more desperately the consequences will close in around him. He cannot, because there is something in life that says he cannot escape them. He cannot say to himself, I have to tell you a lie, and therefore he must correct it. The individual that tells a lie thinks they get away with it, and then a consequence sets in. The consequence that sets in is the only way that he can learn not to tell a lie. He cannot expect it, at this time, to come to the moral solution all by himself. If he does come to that solution, it is because he is already on the road that leads to light. He is on the way to something better. But for most persons, responsibilities must be avoided in every way possible because they interfered with the smooth passing of a useless life. But that is the problem. There could be no smooth passing of ignorance. There can never be a successful built upon stupidity. There can never be peace built upon violence. There can never be wisdom based upon the principle of ignorance. All of these things have to be worked out in their own nature, and therefore, we are often concerned every day with the world around us. But the great Mother of Mysteries is with us. She is watching over us now, just as she always has been. She is the one that is constantly waiting to bring the wayward children back into the rules, and she will never stop until they come back. No one will ever be permitted to be a truant. The truant will hate punishment. The dope addict will hate to be prevented from gaining his justification or pleasure from the narcotics. He will try anything he can and hate the laws that prevent him from doing anything he pleases. But above the laws that will make us do what we please, there is the great law that tells us we must do that which is right. And in this way, we gradually discover that there is a universe of intelligence, a universe of wisdom, a universal good, a universe dedicated to the service of eternal truth, dwelling forever in the presence of the Divine Being. Therefore, if we go along a little, as Boethius did, we may come to the gate that leads out from this life into something else. But when we go through, we will make the discovery that we have not been cast again into shadows, but the light in ourselves, if it is there, will never leave us, and no matter what happens from that time on, truth will prevail. And that means that peace will prevail. Take an example of how this operates, maintaining the health of the physical body. This is something very significant today. The physical body is in a sense our child. Each person has a body that is kind of a psychological infant. They must train this body to serve them, or else they must relinquish their leadership and let the body take over. If the body takes over, they are in trouble, but they don't know that they are in trouble because the body is gratified, then the rest of them goes to sleep. The real fact of the matter is that the body has to be brought into harmony. It has to be disciplined. When the body has grown into discipline, it is said to be healthy. When the soul is brought into discipline, it is said to be healthy. When the infinite human is brought into discipline, then the universal being is healthy. We know from every experience of living that we can and do have the power to change things, to make them what they should be, to accomplish that which is necessary for the common good and for ourselves. But before we settle down the process of changing the world, which we are most interested in at the moment, we should give thought to changing ourselves. We find this world is very hard to change and become more and more disillusioned. There are ways that health can be improved. Improving our health is always a discipline. We have to do some things differently. We have to sacrifice excess in order to achieve moderation. We have to do something right in order to nullify something wrong. So we discovered that only through discipline could we bring ourselves back into harmony. The moment we come back into harmony, the mysterious power of nutrition, another radiant character, can take over and do properly for us. All of the gods of antiquity must manifest through discipline of the bodies. Everything is there to challenge, but nothing is there to hurt, for the reason of destroying us. It is because it is the only way to prevent us from destroying ourselves. When Boethius was given the presence of vision of this saintly being that came to serve him in his sorrow, he gave us an account of wonderful discipline and a wonderful courage against circumstances. If we want to do any of these things on the outside, something must come to us on the inside. We cannot improve the world if we cannot save ourselves. We can't bring peace to the world if we cannot have it in our own families. We must think of the faith of man as being the gateways to conduct. We must think also of all the dreams and hopes of the ages and realize they cannot be fulfilled until the individual loves truth better than he loves himself. There is no way of solving the problem unless we become aware of the strange and wonderful beauty as Boethius saw in his prison cell. A radiant being. We can call it peace, wisdom, or love. It is a radiant power that blesses dedication. Love to the average individual is a very physical world. love to the theologian is an emotional experience. Life and love to the philosopher is an intellectual experience. But beyond this is the simple direct fact of the love of truth, the love which does not require rationalizations. It does not require scientific truths. It does not require anything but the evident fact that if we love peace, we will serve it. And if we serve peace, then we will have peace. If we serve and love truth, we will dedicate ourselves to truth. A dedication to the fulfillment of the works of truth. The moment they start the steps, the moment they begin to make an effort to direct and vitalize their own integrity, that is when the journey towards reality begins. And in that moment, a shining being of truth takes their hand and leads them into eternity. Nothing will interrupt it. Nothing can prevent it. Nothing can have victory over the inevitable victory of reality over illusion. We have lived for a long time in illusion, and some of this illusion we call learned knowledge. We think science is very wise. We think science is solving everything. We think that Einstein was incredible when he found the formula for atomic fission. These are not the truths that we need. These are not truths at all. They are struggling with the misuse of universal potentials. The atom, the cell, all of these things are each a unit. Each of them is a truth in itself and must be treated as one. It must be recognized, and if we wish to advance things, we must work together to make these various parts work together well in us. The problem may be a need for a job, a domestic difficulty, a wayward child. Whatever it is, if at this time they have not found a footing, there must be something done by the individuals themselves to prove a sincere dedication to advancing the cause of the common good. Once they make one statement, the seed is planted and will never die. One good deed leads to another. One bit of wisdom leads to greater wisdom.